By twilight crepuscule on Naberus eve, when the damned revel in ritual while the bereaved beseech for seance, an autumn draught rattles these wretched bones. Unseal the haunted crypt of Dagath at your peril, lest her nightmares plague the living. Awaken, O mighty hollow rider, to bestride ye ghastly steeds. Never do they dare forget the whirl of splintered spines, the vendetta of her untaken soul, and the vestige of Rakali's spectral stampede. Welcome, Tenno, to the episode dedicated to the Naberus-themed Warframe Dagath. And if you didn't know, Naberus is an event that happens over the October Halloween season. Before we get into it, though, could you do me the honour of dropping this or any of my other videos a like? Maybe leave a comment, an emoji, maybe a sub if you haven't already, for we have work to do over here, Tenno, and I need your support. But now, on to the spooky shenanigans. Dagath, the 54th unique Warframe to be released and was first revealed in 2023, so quite a recent Warframe. How do we get our hands on her, I hear you ask? Well, Dagath's main and component blueprints are acquired from Dagath's Hollow. We just popped in there. It's at your local clan dojo, and unlike most clan dojo rooms, Dagath does not need or require research and can be acquired immediately following the room's construction, but your dojo or your clan leaders have to build that room. And her component blueprints require a total of 102 Vainthorns. Now, Vainthorns, you may ask, what are those? These are obtained from the Abyssal Zone, a unique exterminate mission on Ceres of all places. Access requires abyssal beacons. These beacons can be purchased from a faction syndicate like Steel Meridian, Arbiters of Hexus, so on and so forth. And they're available at rank 2 and they cost 5,000 standing each. And when you go to the Abyssal Zone, it'll tell you how many of those Abyssal Beacons that you actually own. There you go. Click on it. Now, this mission does not have a public matchmaking. So you're either just going to solo this or you're going to have to pre-form your own squads. And only the person that triggers the mission will consume their Abyssal Beacon. So don't worry about it. All 4 people have to have one, but they don't all use them, which is great. Because if you've only got enough standing for one beacon, but one of your lovely squad members has like 8 of them, they can just be the host and use theirs up. And as long as you've got one in your inventory, as long as you've bought one, you can enter the mission. It's just yours won't get consumed, right? Useful. Now, this mission, it's basically an exterminate, and we have an extra thing we have to do, which is basically find this little glowy lamp called a Defixios. It's a little rotten handbag. It gives us a debuff, essentially, and there are multiple debuffs. We'll have a look at those in a mo. Now, it's kind of better solo, because if you're on your own, only one lamp has to be taken to extraction, but you also have to complete the exterminate. If there's 4 of you, each player has to take a Defixios little lamp thing to extraction. You can't take 2 and, like, count the 4. For the game knows that that player has not carried it to extraction. It's very strict, okay? Now, as you can see, I've got the little crew members that are going to guide us to these Defixios lamps highlighted in white because I ally highlighted in my option settings. Like, why aren't you doing that? It makes everything so much easier. And they also show up on your map as little blue asterisk-y things. But also, the Defixios lamps actually show up on your radar anyway, so you don't even need to speak to the dudes and dudettes. You can just look at your loot radar. You can fly around in the air and you can hear them because it's a very dark mission. You can also see them glowing red and white up in the rafters sometimes. Also, you can use Parallax's air support ability, Orokin Eye. That will show you and take you to them. Golden Instinct, that's also an ability from your helmet. Same as the Orokin Eye, essentially takes you to goodies in the map, like areas of interest. And if you're solo, you literally need one, and there are like 8 to choose from. And if you don't like the debuff it's giving you, just drop it and go find another one. Do you know what I'm saying? And these are the debuffs. So we have things like reduced gravity, depleting ammo, taking damage when you cast your ability, so just don't cast them, taking damage as you move, you know, the typical stuff. Your shields get removed, so I mean, just take a Warframe with extra overguard, I guess. Or your health drains steadily, killing enemies restores it. Or your energy drains steadily, or your light source dims steadily, but melee kills brighten it. So they're kind of, you know, saying, well, if you're a melee Warframe, you can still come and enjoy this mission with the debuffs. They're so thoughtful, aren't they? And once you've taken your Dexterous to extraction, if you've completed the exterminate amount of numbers of kills, it will just automatically take you out of the mission. If you get there and it's not extracting you and you've got your little lamp, your rotten handbag in your hand, it just means you haven't killed enough enemies. That's all. Go and kill the enemies and you'll be all good. And rinse and repeat until you get all the Vainthorne that you possibly need. And she does have a weapon. You saw it earlier in my foundry, the door clave. Either way, you're going to need some more Vainthorne for that too, if you so want to build it. Have fun with that. And don't forget, Dagath is very much linked to the Necralisk.
The lover of an Orokin couple named Corfel and Aurelia. What was her name? We do not know, but they never used it.
I just have to say, I freaking love the Necralisk and I love Grandmama, but you will find this at Dagath's Hollow, this specific one, but there is another story to be found from the thing that you can get from the Naberus event. Go and check out my video to find out the things that you need and the way that you can get them. And when we're talking about Dagath, she doesn't have a face and there is a whole reason behind that, and that's what Grandmama are telling us. Here, the lore, I won't ruin it for you, go and find out. Now, because she doesn't have a face, if you have Dagath during the month of November, when we have the Movember event, where you get to buy mustaches for a very small amount of credits and you get to shove them on your Warframes. Yeah, so just do me a little favour then and remember me in Movember and try to put a moustache on Dagath. She doesn't have a face. Let's see what happens. And please, if you can screenshot those results and bring them to my Discord Fashion Frame channel, I'll be eternally grateful because I need a laugh. Anyway, we love a bit of Dagath Fashion Frame. I showed you a little bit at the beginning. She's got hooves. She's got a whole like cave dead horse vibe going on about her. She's kind of a mishmash of a Warframe, you know. The horseless, headless rider. You know, I love it. I love the Naberus spooky event. So go and find out the lore from Dagath's Hollow and also Naberus when it rolls around. So let's take a little look at her abilities. Her passive. She feeds from the souls of the deceased, granting her a 35% chance to activate Abundant Abyss when picking up health or energy orbs to increase their effective yield by 300%. That's quadrupled. And don't get excited about the equilibrium mod because it is not impacted by this. However, we can still totally make use of it now. So her first ability, Ward Scythes. They surround Dagath and seek out nearby enemies. Those struck are slowed and suffer viral damage, yay, with a guaranteed status effect. The scythes also spread Doom, and they extend its duration, and Doom happens to be her second ability. And Doom condemns nearby enemies to their doom. I know. A portion of the damage Dagath deals is revisited upon them by Ward Scythe. They also suffer viral damage. And her third ability, Grave Spirit, supercharge Dagath's weapons with extra critical damage. The effects are doubled on doomed enemies, her second ability. Escape fatal blows by briefly assuming a spectral form. And we're also going to employ her augment mod for this ability specifically, and that being immediately assume a spectral form, 100% chance for weapons and abilities to apply doom, and kills outside of spectral form decrease the cooldown by 1 second. So you can increase the speed of the cooldown, which is awesome and cool. So every time you kill something, the cooldown just gets quicker before you can pop that ability again. To be clear, this is essentially a shield gating ability. And her fourth ability, Rakali's Cavalry. Phantom Caves charge forth, inflicting more viral damage upon all in their path. And their attack, it strips the defences of doomed enemies. So this is a defence reduction, and if you mod it correctly, you can get 100%. But it's on 69% here in the footage. But we're going to have a look at some mod configurations and how we're going to use these abilities in conjunction with each other. So in true Coffee Barbarian style, I had no idea how to start modding this Warframe and where her strengths and weaknesses lay. Now, obviously, because I play high level, I wanted to get her to survive on Steel Path. But if we're talking about just modding her generally, you don't have to like play to her strength or her duration or her efficiency or her range, just mod generally. So sometimes we want stronger ability strength, sometimes we want all the strength on the fourth ability, like with Precision Intensify, sometimes we want tons and tons of duration, and sometimes we want very little duration. So I'm going to show you some of my builds. So in true annoying YouTube content creator style, like, oh yeah, just put in your best mods. I have got all the best mods in here. I worked really hard to get them, guys. Okay, don't come for me. This, you'll see a theme with the names, by the way. This Beetlejuice build, I didn't really use it very much, but you don't have to have the primed versions of these mods. You don't have to have, so Blind Rage is basically boosts up strength, but it comes at the cost, I think, of efficiency. I'm not sure, but you could just put a strength mod in, an ability strength mod. You don't have to worry about the mod that I've got. If you're not there yet, just put a version of the mod in to boost up your strength or your duration on this build, the Sleepy Hollow build. Now this was actually a Ninjase overframe build, and he had huge amounts of duration, and I couldn't really understand why, and I used it, and I'll show you the footage, but I didn't love it. Then I created the Shining build, which was more kind of balanced between duration and range. And even though I've got quite a lot of strength in here, I put Precision Intensify in instead of like an encompassing strength mod, because I wanted her fourth to be more powerful and have 100% armor stripping, essentially, or defense reduction anyway on the enemies. But I ran all these builds out and they were fine, but of course on normal star chart, and even with the lesser version of those mods in, she'll be fine. Her third ability gives you immunity to death, essentially. As long as you're killing enemies on the cooldown, it'll reduce the timer so you can pop it again. But on star chart, Steel Path star chart, you're going to need some form of further shield gating, and I learned this very quickly. Now the Archon shards are not a deal breaker at all, but casting speed, I've got two of the yellow ones, Tower Forged, for casting speed, and I've got duration red Archon shards in it, and I just put an armor one in because I will take that out at some point. I'll probably put more casting speed or duration in there. I just didn't have the spare Archons. Archons are always just a bonus, okay? They're just the cream, the cherry on top of the delicious cake that is your Warframe build. They're not a deal breaker in many cases. They just make you more powerful on Steel Path as you get higher and higher and higher, okay? So don't panic if you don't have the Archon shards either, okay? So actually I'm not going to show you the Beetlejuice because I didn't record that. I trialed it and I didn't love it. I kept dying immediately on Steel Path. I think on normal star chart she'll be fine with any of those builds that you just saw. The Sleepy Hollow one, which was Ninjase's build with huge amounts of duration, it kind of went okay when I was just ranking up in normal missions, but when I got to Steel Path star chart, I just really struggled with it. It was okay, but I died a few times, so I was like, I need a better shield gating situation going on. Maybe it's because at that point I wasn't quite fully understanding her abilities, because they do work in really good synergy with each other, but you just need to understand how to use them. So this is the Shining build. So the Ninjase's Sleepy Hollow, I ran it out with Nautilus's Cordon mod because it had such little range. I wanted to like harpoon the enemies into one place so I could impact them with all my abilities, because that's important. But you know, the Shining build, it was okay. I just kept running lower on energy than I'd like. So even though her passive drops a lot of health and energy orbs, for some reason it just wasn't really working well here. So I was relying very heavily on the Torrid instead of spamming her ability. So on Steel Path, you need a lot of energy because you are going to spam the living shizzle out of her abilities. Okay, you see those sides above the enemy's heads? Yeah, you need those sides. And as you can see, I'm just struggling a little bit for energy, so I've popped out an energy pizza, and it's fine. I did okay. I think I died a couple of times. So what I learned is, because we're only partially shield gating and her third ability does give you some immunity, as I said, there's a cooldown, so you have to kill enemies during the cooldown to reduce that timer so you can pop it again. It's essentially like Rolling Guard, essentially. You can put Rolling Guard in and catalyzing shields, you know, and give yourself a little bit more shield gating. But I just found, based on my playstyle, that I needed like full shield gating build as well as her third ability. I know, and I'm still kind of working on it. So there's actually a secret fourth build with a different film name in there. Can you guess what it might be? Probably not. These films are some of my favourite films, by the way. I love Beetlejuice. I love Sleepy Hollow with the lovely Johnny Depp. And I love The Shining with the beautiful Jack Nicholson. But there is one film, it's not... yeah, it is like a horror film, but it's just so damn good. Anyway, so I named the fourth build after that film. So that's coming up now in a moment. But I just wanted to talk about how you use her abilities. So you always pop her third first, and you will keep popping it as soon as the cooldown's ended, because that gives you essentially the shield gating vibe. You're immune. As you can see, our health and shields are silver. We are immune. And then you're just going to spam her first ability, then her second ability almost immediately, because this first ability shoots off into the enemies, look, and hits them. with the size. And then you want to apply doom to those enemies, like super speedy quick. And then once you're spreading your doom around everywhere, you then want to hit them with your horsey cavalry, your ghosty caves, you know, her dead horse. Yeah. And then that like completely strips all their armor, and often it will just kill the enemies. You don't have to do much, especially if you've got the 100% armor strip on there for your ability strength. Precision Intensify really did like help out with that. And that's it. And hopefully you'll just have enough energy being, as you can see, we've got a lot of health orbs dropping, but hopefully your energy will just keep regenning and you can keep spamming. However, like I said, on this Shining build, I ran out. All work and no play definitely made coffee crazy. I can't remember, but all work and no play makes coffee a dull girl. I can't remember the line out of The Shining. You know, one of my favourite films ever. Anyway, quotes from your favourite horror films in the comments, please. That's right, guys. Ready for it? This is the Constantine build, and this was my own build. Oh yeah, that's right. So we've got lower strength, we've got an average kind of balance between the duration and range, and low efficiency. Again, don't worry about that, just look away from that. But in every single one of these builds you will see the Spectral Spirit Augment mod, because it's super useful on that third ability. However, I'm starting to think if I just go full shield gating, maybe I don't need it. Haven't tried it anyway. So this is my full shield gating build for Steel Path. You don't need to do this if you're on normal star chart. You can just shove all of your other mods in that give you good duration, good efficiency, good range, good strength. There's no reason, like you can boost up her duration like Ninjase did. That just kind of makes things last a bit longer, but you kind of don't need them to either, because she makes so much energy you can just keep spamming things. So I actually preferred a bit of shorter duration. I'll be honest. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. This build in action, along with my Panzer Vulpafiller spreading around the viral stuff, and my Torrid, obviously, trusty Torrid, it was a good time had by all. So, shall we observe? And I didn't die. I don't think I died. Did I die? I'm pretty sure I didn't die. Anyway, so we're getting into it, straight on into it. We have the third ability running, and then a cooldown, obviously. But then we also pop the first ability. It shoots off in the path of enemies, and then I almost immediately, as it's running, hit the second ability, and that spreads our little doom around. And I still don't know if I'm getting it right. Sometimes I hit a lot of numbers, and other times I don't. And then in the midst of this maelstrom, I shall then hit my fourth ability. Now you have to be facing the enemies that you want your horsey, ghosty cavalry to like trundle in. They literally gallop in one straight line, as you can see, but they will go for quite some distance. I guess they're affected by range on how far away they go from you. Maybe, possibly, I can't actually remember whether it's the distance or like how many enemies they impact as they run. Either way, they are stripping all those defenses off, and often like will just finish the enemies off for you, and if they don't, then you're just quids in. And you've got your third ability. When you pop it, it gives you that invulnerability, so it's like shield gating, but in between I'm using the shield gating method. As you can see, my shields are really freaking low, and I don't know if you've spotted it, but Dagath's base health is that magical number. They are so, they pay, the devil is literally in the details. Anyway, my darlings, so that's Dagath, and as you can see, you know, we're having a lot of shizzle thrown in our direction, but it's not really bothering her now. Before, when I didn't have the full shield gating, and to be honest, I don't have the absolute full shield gating mods in because I haven't put Arcane Aegis in. I've just left it as Molt Augmented and the other mod efficiency. But look, as you look, and then we have all of these beautiful health and energy orbs dropping as well from her passive. That 35%, you know, it's just enough to keep you going. And because we've got equilibrium in as well, any other health orbs that they just happen to be dropping are going to be converted as well into the energy. So at no point did I feel like I was truly ever really running out of energy, as long as I just kept running backwards and forwards. And these hallways on this Lure mission, by the way, this is Steel Path Lure Circular, so useful for like gathering the enemies in a short kind of narrow space for you to hose them down with your first, second, then fourth ability. And just remember, we're popping the third whenever it's cooled down, it's finished, you know. And when it's cooling down, that's when you really want to kill a lot of enemies, because it cools down even quicker, and then you just like got this constant immunity, man, and you can just go to town on Steel Path. So my darlings, have you used Dagath? Again, in the process of making this video and revisiting her because of the whole Naberus thing coming up and the link between her and Grandmama, I relearned how to use her, because I think I tend to rank things up when I first get them, and then If I love them, I'll invest a bit of time into them. But if they're not really obvious to me immediately, I kind of go off and go drift back to the things that I do love and I have put time into. However, there are so many damn things in this game for you to put your love and time and effort into. And people often say, like, what's the best Warframe for this? What's the best weapon for this? What would you recommend for this level on Steel Path? And it's like, it's up to you. There's so much to choose now. You are not limited. It just depends what kind of gameplay style you're working towards. You love, like, melee, primary, AoE, whatever your vibe is, or just spamming abilities. There's no right or wrong way to play the game. And yeah, like, some builds that are absolutely amazing for some people just don't work for me. Can't make them work no matter what I do, and I can't explain it. Then I tweak it to my own desires and wishes and wants and experience, and I think, oh, now I'm enjoying it. Here we go. Let's go, man. And yes, there are always going to be the kind of avenue of the path of least resistance, which is where the meta and the S tier comes from. But hey, you can follow your own path. You don't have to follow everyone else. Okay, just saying. And with that in mind, that's exactly what our Discord's about. Well, man, we have some characters in there. So don't feel like, you know, you have to come in and just be the life and soul of the party. You can just be a real person there, you know, a human. We don't expect you to come and entertain us. However, we do have a lot of entertainment going on over there. But we sometimes have serious chitty chats, you know, we do. And it's not just all about Warframe over there. As I'm recording and editing this, we were all watching the latest dev stream with all the announcements coming out in October and later on in 2025 together. And it was just a lovely little moment in my day of sharing that with some of my Discordians. And you are more than welcome to come and join, because, like, I'm going to be making videos on this stuff. And others, if other games, if you want me to. So yeah, that's your cordial invite to the Discord. And whenever I release a video, I tend to have a little influx, so you are more than welcome to join. And don't forget to like, comment and sub on this or any of my other videos, because such a little thing that you're doing in your day makes a massive difference to someone like me. So if you just want to say, do you know what, I like this video, you got my support, just hit the like button, or drop an emoji if you don't want to talk to me in the comments. Just interact with the video in some way, maybe share it with somebody. You know, just anything you can do. I really appreciate it. In the meantime, I want to also thank my YouTube members who've paid their hard-earned money to get access to my videos early. And man, am I trying to get them out early, because it's so difficult when there's stuff going on in the game. And I'm not complaining, but I have a full-time real-life job, so, and I also have pussycats to look after. That's right, Mama Barbarian is a crazy cat lady. I know, I'm as shocked as you are. But I'm a loving crazy cat lady, okay? So they come first. And then I've got to make videos. And I love making videos, but I don't always have the time and all of the energy. And I'm trying my best, though. What I'm trying to say is give me a like. Okay, cool. Love you, bye. Thank you for watching. I really do hope that you have a go at the Dagath. And let me know how you're feeling about the Naberus stuff. I've done a Naberus prep video if you want to go and check that out if you haven't already. How to take the stress out of the grind when Naberus arrives. You're going to need a lot of mother tokens, okay? I'm just saying. And if you can get ahead of the game, you can just go and buy yourself the pretty stuff and not worry about the stress of all of the grinding, okay? You can just do it in increments, my darlings. It's gaming. It's supposed to be fun, okay? Fun. Have fun, all right? Goodness. Anyway, otherwise I will set Grandmama Entrati upon you, and we know how that's going to go. Anyway, my darlings, thank you so much for watching. I really do hope to see you again in the next one. What are you thinking of Dagath? Are you going to go and trial her out now? Because look at her go. She's absolutely fine. And I still do need to do a little bit of work. The only one thing I will say before I leave is the horse sound effect. I wish they'd done like multiple horsey sound effects and it just like randomized between every time you pop that ability. Because having to listen to that neighing over and over, the same neighing, and if you're spamming it, it's quite intense. Okay, I just want to share that. Thoughts, feelings. Anyway, my darlings, thanks for joining. I really do hope to see you again in the next one, whatever it may be. But in the meantime, you take care now and goodbye.